Let me set this up. Okay, so the purpose of this video is to explain to you why I am using TechnoTutor. So first off, what the heck is TechnoTutor? It's a tool that I'm using and using to learn things and to actually integrate things into me, into my subconscious, into my physicality, which is creating neural pathways. So I'm gonna first give you a bit of context. Basically, in the last 5 years, I was basically lost. I was studying at university, and I was basically doing the same thing as every other student, which is going there and not really knowing what you want to do in life. I mean, some of them know, but most people, if you're honest, when they're 18 years old and go to university, actually don't know what they want to do in their life. And actually, they don't know what meaning they could get in the job that they will have. So maybe they know what they want to do, but most of them don't actually are not able to connect it with a meaning, something that is meaningful to them. So I was basically lost into that because I was studying things that at the time I did not see how those things could actually give me some meaning. And now I can see that any of the things that I did study, that at the time I did not see any meaning, I could now see great meaning in all of the things. So I was lost in that. And also I had an addiction, and I won't go in great details into this video, but for some of you that would want to know, that will be curious to know, you can contact me and we could share about this. And so I started to get interested into personal development stuff and all kind of things that could help me, like therapies and reading books, going to some events and stuff like this, And a lot of the things were really helpful, I really start to see some changes, but at the time I was still not able to connect the meanings that I wanted to find, because I wanted to find some things to do with my life that I could see a great meaning in, but I wasn't able to connect this with something that I could actually do. And I also still have a lot of emotional instability, and I still had this addiction that I mentioned. So I started to, at some point I was connected to a group of people, and I started to observe them on Facebook and on social medias, and also meet them in real life. And I started to notice how they did interact between themselves, how they did interact with their families, with their kids, or they were able to have emotional stability and stability in the way they did interact and the way they express themselves. And I started to wonder. And a lot of things that they said actually did not make any sense to me. It was as if they said stuff to me that seemed logical, but I thought did not apply to me. For example, they were talking about vocabulary, and how your vocabulary is actually what limits you in your life, and or your vocabulary is what creates the way you learn your vocabulary is what creates emotional instability in your life. And I was like, no, what the fuck, it's not that, because I had a great vocabulary, I thought, like in French, because obviously in English is not my first language, but in French I thought I had a great vocabulary. So I mean, this doesn't apply to me. And how is it that I have emotional instability if I had a great vocabulary? So this really didn't make sense. But as I started to watch more and more and observe and notice those peoples and meet them in real life, I started to see that they had something to it. So this is basically how I came to get TechnoTutor. And TechnoTutor is kind of a tool that you use to integrate pieces of information into you. So you then basically can use it for anything. and I won't explain it in great details here because this is something that needs to be explained in real life and demonstrated. But I started to see some changes in me. Like I started to feel more emotional stability and to feel that things will flow easier in the way that when I had like negative emotions, I was more able to actually see, oh, observe them and see where they came from, and started to deal with them and use this tool to tackle them in a very, like it's the only tool that I know where you're able to take this little backshot, this voice that you have in your head and that is like self-sabotage and that is talking to you all day and telling you stuff like you're not able to do this or you're not able to do that and making you basically feel really bad. This is the only tool that I know that I'm able to use this and to tackle any thoughts that I could have and make it basically vanish and make the energy that is associated with this voice, with this programming, to make it vanish, And I started to, I think the main point that I got, the main benefit that I got from it is that I started to have a long-term vision of things that I could do and that I would want to do, because before I was actually able to see, oh, I would want to find something where I could have a positive impact or I could have a meaning in what I am doing, but it wasn't very clear and I wasn't able to find things that I could apply myself in to actually make them happen and get things get done in real life, So it was more fantasy than anything else. And when I started to use this tool on a consistent basis, it started to become more real. Like I could see and I could project myself in 10 years from now and say, okay, I'm gonna do this for the next 10 years. I'm gonna start study a set of different subjects and actually apply myself in studying them for the next 10 years and start to really take the time to change on the long run, and have the emotional stability to say, okay, it's gonna take time, and that's okay if it's gonna take time. Before that, I was always like, it needs to happen now, today, and even if I wasn't able to consciously be honest with that, it was like I thought I was able to project myself on the long term, but it wasn't the case. Like after 1 or 2 weeks, I started to become frustrated, impatient, and I wasn't able to say, okay, it's going to take time, and it's completely normal. It's like if you want to grow a tree, like an oak tree or a bamboo, it's like there's this story with the Chinese bamboo, It's like this bamboo that you plant and you need to water it, fertilize it for a very long time, every day, and if you stop it, it doesn't grow. Like you need to fertilize it and continue to fertilize it and make it grow for a very long time, and then one day it grows like 60 feet or something like this in like 2 months, very fast. But you needed to fertilize it and make it grow for a very long time before that. So you need to have, if you want to do anything meaningful in life, anything that could have any impact on other people and actually change yourself, you need to have emotional stability, and you need to have something that comforts you and is like a companion, a tool that you can have and work with to redesign the way you are programmed. Because the reason why we're not able to have this emotional stability is because we were programmed as kids to be emotionally unstable, and there is a lot of different reasons for this, but you need, and we need, and I need to change the programming that occurred during the first years of my life. That's why it's so hard, because it's so deeply embedded, And this is basically the main benefit that I'm getting from these tools, aside that I'm able to use it for any emotions that may come up every day. I'm also able to use it to learn anything that I could want to learn, like any foreign language or any academical study, like anything like maths, physics, chemistry, or computer science, anything that you could want to learn. You can use it to study it. And aside that, it's like doing this process, you're able to read in a very efficient way, in that you're actually able to understand the words that you read. Not just like, I read this phrase and I read this phrase and I read this page and then, okay, what did I just read? I don't even know. And I get to the end of the book and I say it was like a cool reading, but what could I really get out of the book? Or could I really apply it in my real life? And I'm not able to actually get anything from the book, and I need to read it a second time and take notes. But it's not the way we're designed to work. If you have really the words and the vocabulary integrated into you, and you're actually able to really read, you just need to read the book once, and you understand what it said, and you're able to actually see in your life how it applies to your specific life and to your specific programming and to what you need to specifically do in your life. So this is basically what I get from benefits. And the third thing I would want to talk to you is why it will be of interest for you to use it as well. I think one of the main points of this is, if in any day of life, if you have even a remote project of having kids, or you currently have kids, you need to have it. It's like a no-brainer, because this is the tool that will allow any of us, and me as well, because I project to have kids. I want to have kids. I will have kids in a time going from, in a few years from now, but I will have kids. And this is one of the things that 1 year ago